Welcome to the Punjab Ontario virtual conference organized by Impact Media and Events Corporation and by Canada India USA Development Forum. I am your host Vipul Jani. Together we host annual Canada India Insight Conference, Canada India USA Trilateral Conference, IT Conference, Celebrating Success Gala, Business and Political Leaders Roundtables, province to province conferences between Canada and India like this one, and publish Canada India Insight, a monthly e-paper focusing exclusively on Canada India relations. Canada India Insight also has a podcast and a YouTube channel. We are thankful to the High Commissioners, Ambassadors, Consul Generals, senior business leaders, and cabinet ministers from all three countries for participating in our events, webinars, and conferences. A special thank you to all the speakers for today, as well as all members of the Canada India USA Development Forum and all the IMEC sponsors, including Seneca College, Tangentia, One Place, Pavi Binning, and Skylink Capital. With that, please join me in welcoming the Consul General of India to Toronto, Apoorva Srivastava ji, for her welcome remarks. Mr. Viresh Mathur, who is a member of the forum and an insurance advisor by profession, will introduce the CG. Viresh ji, over to you. Viresh?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yes, go ahead.
No, it's again. It's my pleasure to introduce the Consul General of India to Toronto here. Is Mrs. Apoorva Srivastava, a career diplomat having joined the Indian Foreign Service in 2001. Prior to being appointed as India's Consul General in Toronto, she worked with the Minister of External Affairs from January 2017 to August 2019. In her 19 years career, she has served twice as Indian Embassy in Paris from August 2003 to October 2006, and again from August 2012 to July 2015, and in the Indian Embassy in Kathmandu from June 2009 to August 2012. In the headquarters, she has served as the Undersecretary of SAARC and Director of Administration. Consul General Ms. Srivastava holds a master's degree in psychology from Lucknow University. She speaks Hindi, English, and French. She's married to Anushman Gaur and a career diplomat. They have two daughters. It's my pleasure to introduce the Consul General, Mr. Srivastava. Welcome.
Thank you. Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal. Good morning, everyone from Canada. Good evening, everybody from India. It's a great honor for me to welcome Madam Preneet Kaur, Honorable Member of Parliament from Patiala this morning. Ma'am, we very fondly remember you during your tenure as Minister of State for External Affairs. And I remember looking at you with awe and with a lot of respect. So, ma'am, it's a great honor to be with you on the same panel. I would also like to welcome Shri Rajat Agarwal, CEO of Invest Punjab, MPPs Neena Tangri ji and Deepak Anand ji. And last but not the least, thank you, Vipul Jani ji, for this wonderful initiative called Pyara Punjab, which enable us to showcase wide range of opportunities that the state of Punjab offers to the world and its complementarities with Canada. When we look at it, Punjab and Ontario have deep cultural, economic, and people-to-people ties. Canada is now home to lakhs of immigrants from Punjab who have embraced Canadian way of life while preserving their Indian identity. We see people from Punjab in all walks of life in Canada, from politics, economics, education, trade and investment to agriculture. There are 20 MPs in the parliament and 2 cabinet ministers those have origin from Punjab. Prominent businessmen, some of them have joined today. The biggest example today is, Neera Tangri ji and Deepak Anand ji, who are MPPs from Ontario legislature, and they both have origin from Punjab. These Indo-Canadians have added vitality and dynamism to the Canadian society. There's a Brampton, it's a suburb near Toronto, and it's rightly called Little Punjab. And you go there, visit to various lanes, it's very hard to believe that this place is in Canada and not in Punjab. A vast majority of more than 230,000 Indian students studying in Canadian universities and colleges are from Punjab. And Punjab's relation with Ontario has been growing over the years. Apart from the people-to-people ties, the relationship got a major boost in 2016 when the former Premier of Ontario to India visited Punjab, and the 2 provinces signed a MOU for strengthening cooperation in the fields of urban infrastructure, information and communication technology, advanced manufacturing, agriculture, and education sectors. So I think it's very important now that this MOU should be actually implemented. So I would, today I'll request everybody to just look at it, and if possible, we should do all efforts to implement this MOU to its fullest. While Punjab is one of the most developed states of India, Government of Ontario has created a very conducive business environment in the province and has been proactive in enhancing their relations within India. Ontario's Premier, Mr. Doug Ford, has made India a chosen trade destination, and Ontario's Ministers of Economic Development, Mr. Fedeli, who couldn't join us today, has invested great effort in cultivating the relationship, having led a trade delegation to India in 2019 last year, and a virtual trade delegation just a couple months ago. We would request Neena ji and Deepak ji to request Mr. Fedeli to visit Punjab during his next visit to India, definitely. There are so many complementarities between Punjab and Ontario. There is a lot of potential in agriculture sector. Punjab is the breadbasket of India, and the innovative solutions of Ontario-based agri-tech companies can increase production of non-food cash crops and improve its cropping pattern in Punjab. As a hub of textile-based industries, Punjab can be a top sourcing destination for meeting Ontario's textile and apparel demand. Both Punjab and Ontario have a very well-established automotive and auto component ecosystem. Similarly, Ontario is home to Canada's largest chemical manufacturing cluster in Sarnia, Malton. And Punjab has also scaled up the state's capacity in boosting the chemical sector. So these are few sectors where the two sides can collaborate and benefit from each other's strength. New education policy also bring forth an opportunity for establishing prominent universities from Ontario in India. I think there are so many complementarities which will be brought out by the speakers, by the experts later on. And today's deliberation will definitely simulate business communities to, on both sides, to take advantage of the existing opportunities and also create new ones. I'm confident that this session will not only be a one-off session, but the beginning of several fruitful conversations. To conclude, I would like to assure you that Consulate and here in Toronto and Vancouver and our High Commission in Ottawa are always ready to work together with partners like you to strengthen this relationship. I wish all the participants of this virtual meeting a great success in their endeavors. I look forward to a productive and fruitful interaction, which will strengthen trade and investment relations between Punjab and Ontario. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining this, and I look forward to hearing the deliberations. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, Apoorva ji. I would now like to invite Prashant Srivastava, who is an advisor to the Canada-India-USA Development Forum, and he is the Director South Asia for Seneca College, to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Honorable Preneet Kaur ji.
Thank you, Vipul Bhai, and Namaste, Sat Sri Akal. It is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce Honorable Preneet Kaur ji, Member of Parliament from Patiala, ex-Minister of State External Affairs, Government of India. Honorable Preneet Kaur is a 4th-term Member of Parliament from Patiala, Punjab. She served as a Union Minister of State for External Affairs in the Government of India from 2009 to 2014. In 2014, she was elected as an MLA from Patiala. She is married to Captain Amrinder Singh, who is currently the 26th Chief Minister of Punjab. In her fourth term as MP, Preneet Kaur is serving as a member of the Standing Committee of External Affairs and the Committee of Ethics. She is also the president of Patiala Heritage Society and has received a President's Award in the 70s for her social work with the Red Cross Hospital Welfare Section. Preneet Kaur is an art enthusiast and her hobbies include reading and gardening. So with this, I welcome Honorable Preneet Kaur ji for her keynote address. Thank you, Vipul bhai.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Sat Sri Akal, Namaste to everybody. Srivastava, thank you very much for your kind words, and I very fondly remember my stint in your ministry, which I must say showed me great horizons, and I enjoyed it very much indeed. And I remember everyone there very fondly as well. Meena Tangri ji, MP, Vipul Jani ji, editor, Yashrath Verma ji, and Honorable Vic Fedeli ji, who I think is not with us, but still thank you for your participation. Canada and India have had great ties. I think the Indian diaspora, Canada is one of the very destinations and has proved very good for everybody, especially people from Punjab who have gone there. The first time I went to Canada was about 15, 20 years ago for the Kamagata Maru 100th year. And I remember in Vancouver, there was a dinner in the evening, and the then mayor, who was in a wheelchair, gave his address in beautiful Punjabi. I complimented him on it afterwards, and he said to me, you know, to be mayor of this town, you have to know Chinese and you have to know Punjabi. That tells the story of the connection and the roots between the Punjabi diaspora and Canada. So today that I've been asked to give a keynote address here, I thank you and I'm proud to do so. And the diaspora I know all over the world and especially Canada, which has been a land of golden opportunity for most of us in Punjab. They have acted as wonderful ambassadors of our country. They have proved that with hard work and opportunity, Canada gives them their rightful place. As earlier said, we have a lot of people in the governance, and we can consider ourselves equal citizens on par with every other citizen in Canada, which is a great feeling. But the best feeling of all that I find, and this may be now the second, third generation that is of Punjabis and Indians in Canada, is that they have not lost touch with their mother country and with their home state, which is Punjab. They keep the culture alive. I think there are many things about the culture which the present generation in Punjab may not know, which the people in Canada have taught their youngsters. And by keeping culture, the way of life alive, and also living the culture and the way they should live as Canadian citizens, I think is very, very commendable. And this is what is keeping everything alive with us. Apoorva ji said that in 2016 there was an MOU signed. I think Rajat Agarwal ji is also going to be part of this, and he's handling in West Punjab. So I will also make a pitch to get this going, to improve everything that's already there. What I would like to say is that one of the key areas is education. Without education, really nobody can be fully empowered or can either go ahead in life. Now, the Punjab government has been able to set up 273 smart schools in all the 217 education backward blocks that are there. And more than 5,500 primary, middle, and high schools have got turned into smart schools with the help of NGOs and NRIs. And I must thank all the NRIs who have actually come forward to make their villages better places, whether it's in sanitation or as smart schools. And I think that's a cooperation which keeps cementing bonds with each other. In Punjab, to foster this relationship and keep the ongoing relationship with the people of Punjab that have gone to Canada, we have started this Connect with Your Roots program, because as I said, they are probably third generation people there, and they may not know the same thing. And probably they don't want to come to India and only go back to the village like their forefathers did. They want to know more about their roots. They want to know more about their culture. And this has been a fairly good success. I think in 2018, in August, we had the first batch, after which we had in 2019, and then again in February, and then again in 2020. Unfortunately, in this last year, with the COVID situation, I think there's been a slight damper in the movement, which naturally has not taken place. But we hope in the future that this Connect with Your Roots will carry on and establish greater bonds and ties between the diaspora in Canada and their roots in India. We also had started a program called Friends of Punjab, in which the Punjab government has launched this program, and to seek participation of NRIs of Punjabi origin in the development and the growth of Punjab, which I think probably Rajit will be able to tell you better than I can. Besides this, there are various other schemes that the Punjab government has come up with. And I think that the maximum participation that can take place in this very good initiative that you have taken, New Punjab, Pyara Punjab. It's a fantastic initiative, and to integrate everybody who are living in Canada and living back with the people and their relatives and associations in Punjab. I hope that this will carry on. I know that the Punjabi industry, as far as the song, music, even the movies that have been promoted have been much more due to the reception they have got from the Punjabi diaspora in Canada and other parts of the country, other parts of the world, which has encouraged our artists here to perform and given us a bigger exposure. So I think that given the prosperity of India and Canada, we are very happy that we have great platforms for both countries to grow economically and to go forward. And in future, we hope that these ties will grow, and opportunities that Apoorva gave forward, such as the agricultural opportunities, the what growing techniques, what diversification techniques you can offer, I'm sure that very quickly the Punjabi people will take to once they are here, and will certainly their hardworking nature and the innovative nature they have and the nature to progress, which is seen, you have seen in your own diaspora in Canada. We have that here too. That should take us forward. And we would appreciate that you help us grow in yours while we help you keep our culture, which is your culture basically, before you became Canadian citizens, alive. And I thank you all for being such wonderful ambassadors of Punjab and our country, showing your true worth in the new country that you've adopted, where you're doing fantastically. May you all grow, and may we all continue to have great ties and bonds between us. Thank you very much for having me with you.
Thank you for the wonderful remarks, Preneet ji. Please stay with us for the Q&A after these brief messages and remarks from Minister Fedeli and MPP Nina Tangri, as well as Deepak Anand. So I will now play the video message that we received from Minister Fedeli.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks to the excellent team at Impact Media and Events, especially the Bull, for the invitation to attend today's event. My apologies for the last-minute absence. A cabinet meeting was called, and with the ongoing changes in today's world, sudden calls to legislative duty have become more frequent. It's the only thing that could have pulled me away from here. Warm greetings to my friend, Consul General Apoorva Srivastava, and the Honorable Preneet, Kaur, as well as those who have joined to make today's event a success. We will come together again soon to celebrate the strong relationship between Ontario and Punjab. Today, our global community and the global economy face many challenges from the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, more than ever, it is important to work together for our citizens and economies to explore new partnerships and opportunities to increase trade and investment that leverage strengths. Events like today's conference play an important role in continuing to reinforce connections that can help our economies recover. We have a long history of working together, and this relationship is expanding to create trade, jobs, and economic growth for both regions. By continuing to work together, Ontario and Punjab, as well as the rest of India, can continue to create an environment where business and people can thrive. Now, colleagues, Parliamentary Assistant Nina Tangri and MPP Deepak and Anand, our government's special advisor on India, will join you momentarily to share an in-depth look at the relationship between Ontario and Punjab, the importance of this relationship to Ontario, and the investment opportunities our province has to offer. Many thanks once again to everyone who have organized this incredibly important event. To all the companies in Punjab province, look no further than Ontario as your ideal destination for investment. And I'll pass it off to my colleagues. Thank you.
That was Minister Fedeli, Victor Fedeli, Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And so that brings us to MPP Nina Tangri. MPP Nina Tangri, she is an MPP for Mississauga, Streetsville. She has served as Vice Chair on the Board of Directors at the Credit Valley Hospital in Mississauga, and she was a cabinet member of Erin Oak Kids, Ontario's largest treatment center for children living with disabilities. Prior to her election as an MPP in 2019, she was the CEO of Tangri Insurance and Financial Group. MPP Nina Tangri was appointed as Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Honorable Vic Fedeli, in June 2019. So over to you, Ninaji.
Well, thank you.
I hope the message played out well for Minister Fedeli.
Thank you very much, Vipulji of Impact Media and Events Corporation, for organizing today's wonderful event, and also to Yash Verma. Good morning, Apoorva ji, and good evening, Honorable Preneet Kaur. Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal. It really is a pleasure to be here on behalf of the Ontario government. There is no time like the present to come together to celebrate the strong relationship between Ontario and Punjab, and of course, between Ontario and India. Since we took office, our government has been working hard to fuel cross-border collaboration and strengthen the ties between India and Ontario. Just 2 months ago, we led our first virtual trade mission to India, building on the success of our in-person mission in 2019. And it's lovely to see Prashant here, who joined us on that mission. A delegation of 13 Ontario tech companies had over 100 meetings with industry leaders while attending the India Mobile Congress, the largest digital and technology forum in South Asia. We brought with us Ontario's Open for Business message, which resulted in new agreements, partnerships, and investments. For example, we met with Pack Universe International, an Indian packaging solutions manufacturer. The company announced an investment of $6 million for the first phase of construction to build a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility in Ontario. An Indian auto parts manufacturer, PCI, also had big news. They announced that they will be opening their first international facility in Ontario. Their company is investing $4 million in the project that is expected to create 80 jobs in the near future. Ontario and India continue to create an environment where businesses and people can thrive. In 2019, two-way trade between Ontario and India was valued at $3.4 billion. Currently, over 60 Indian companies operate in Ontario, and more than 100 Ontario companies have a presence in India. And Ontario's vibrant Punjabi community is one of the largest in the world, contributing so much to business and the strength of our economy. The Punjabi community has always been at the forefront of giving back to the community. We have been especially grateful for Punjabis across Ontario who are stepping up their efforts to provide relief as we all navigate the challenges of this COVID-19 pandemic. Our province has trade and investment offices all over the world, but we have chosen to put 2 of these offices in India, which demonstrates how important our partnership is. The offices in Mumbai and New Delhi can help Indian companies do business in Ontario and provide information to Ontario businesses about opportunities in India. Our trade and investment office, our wealth of knowledge to prospective investors. And doors of our India offices are always open to any company in Punjab who would like to pursue opportunities here in Ontario. Many thanks for the invitation to today's event, and I'm really looking forward to the great conversation with Honourable Minister Preneet Kaur. And just like to say, as a second generation Punjabi as well, my parents left India back in the 50s and moved to the UK, where I was born, and now I'm living here in Canada amongst a very vibrant Punjabi community. And the trade mission that we took just over a year ago in India was extremely successful. And I was also there to be able to celebrate the 550th anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's birth. So it's somewhere that I love to travel to, visit very, very often. And I'm really looking forward to see how we can move further. And now I'd like to pass things over to my colleague and friend, MPP Deepak Anand, Special Advisor on India to our government. Thank you.
Deepak ji, okay, so Deepak Anand is an MPP for Mississauga, Malton in Ontario. A first-term MPP, Mr. Anand is currently chair of Standing Committee on Regulations and Private Bills and a member of Standing Committee on Public Accounts. He immigrated from India back in 2000 with a chemical engineering degree from Punjab University and received a Masters of Business Administration MBA from Schulich School of Business before becoming a small business owner. He also ran a radio show of his own. MPP Deepak Anand is a special advisor to the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Honorable Vic Fedeli, on Ontario India trade file. So over to you, Deepak ji.
Thank you so much, Vipul ji. And sab to pehla main sare nu namaste, sat shri akal. And before I start, I want to say a few things. And the people who I see on my screen, I want to acknowledge and appreciate them. Apoorva ji, call her a sister, call her a friend. You know, every time we need any help, MP Preneet Kaur ji, whenever we need help and our Punjabis need help, we reach out to her. Even on the weekend, even on the evenings, she's always there to help us. So I want to thank you, Apoorva ji, first of all. And this is not me, it's all of us echo the same thing. On the left, you see under the name Vipul from Canada, India inside. Vipul ji, I can't thank you enough. There are a lot of Punjabis here, and we all somewhere or the other want to go back and give back to our Punjab, where we all came from, where we were born. But you taking the lead, you're not from Punjab, but you taking the lead and being that front runner, I can't thank you enough. And that exactly shows, as a global citizen, you know, we can do anything together. Right under Vipul Jani ji, there is another Vipul ji. It's actually Surjit Babra ji with the wrong name. MP Preneet Kaur ji, I want to tell you, this man here is an identity by itself. Many places you will see him leading the charge, being that global citizen again, and we are proud of him. Prashant, I had not much interaction, but every time I had interaction, I've seen him being at the forefront, building that relationship. And from the academia, you talked about the education. He is doing an incredible job. So Prashant, we are looking up to you also on this journey. I know Rajat is here. I had a brief interaction with Rajat when I went to India. I want to share you the document which I was in India last year, and I had the opportunity to visit in West Punjab. And I was actually physically there listening to Captain Amrinder Singh when he made that speech. So this, with those thanks, I want to reach out to you, MP Preneet Kaur ji. I want to share you the connection you and I have. I am actually born in Rajendra Hospital, Patiala. And my father had a distinct privilege to work with your father-in-law, Captain Amrinder Singh's father. And those memories, my father passed away, unfortunately, last year. I wish he was here today. He would have been here sitting next to me, sharing some of those memories and the regard that he has for Captain Saab's father. So again, I want to thank you for being here today. You know, it is very important. Ever since we came to Canada, and Canada has given us a lot. And if I have to say, I have to say this also, thanks to the sanskar that we received in Punjab, we were able to come here, a sanskar of good education, sanskar of hard work, that as Punjabis, we made a place here. But always there was something which was missing. Ek connection jehda siga, hamesha lagda siga ki assi ethe aake Punjab vaste kuch nahi kita, apne vaste bahut kuch kita, but we always felt there is something missing where we want to go back and give back more. I mean, you talked about people coming back, helping, supporting the villages, which is incredible. But in the economic sector, we always felt there was a void. And I think Apoorva ji said very well, 2016, there was an MOU which was shelved, in my opinion. And maybe it's a time that we can all bring back, thanks to, again, Vipul Jani for giving us this opportunity to talk about it. Last year, when I was in India, I actually had the opportunity to meet Mr. Shyam Sundar Arora. And then subsequently, as I said, I did met Mr. Rajinder Gupta also from the Vardhaman. And along with that, Manish Tiwari ji actually came to Canada last year as well. So there was some conversation, but those conversations did not materialize anything. And hopefully through you, we might be able to concrete those conversations into the actual physical result. And मैं यही उम्मीद करता आज दी conversation तो आज the conversation is not end of the relationship, is not the end of the work, but it is the seed we are putting in the earth so that we can eventually have a plant, a sapling, and a big tree producing the fruits in the future. So again, thank you. And I'm going to move over to my official part of the speech, which I was supposed to deliver. So many thanks to Impacts Media and Event Corporation for hosting an excellent forum today. As my colleague Nina, and Nina is the parliamentary assistant to minister, is doing an incredible job in her role as well. Talked about the deep cultural and personal connections. We all know Ontario is the largest Indian community in Canada. We have over 900,000 people of Indian descent here in Ontario alone. When we talk about Ontario as a business partner, I don't think we could be any better than anyone else in Canada. We have a government who believes in business-to-business ties. We believe in people-to-people ties. We have skilled workforce. We have world-class innovation system. We are the third largest ICT sector in North America. We have the best of the best. We're second in automotive. So look at these two things together. When we talk about Punjab, that's something which, for an example, I had the opportunity to visit GNA manufacturing. They export to many places in the world. But think about it, if you think of Ontario, if you think of Greater Toronto area, very simple, we are a global village. We have people from 150 nations. We have 202 languages spoken here. So if GNA or any other company or Vardhman wants to expand to the world, we could be a place where we could be giving them the connection to the rest of the world through Ontario. And the best part is that, we have the culture, we have the people, we have that connection already. What we need is today, we need a champion. We need a champion in Punjab, and we do have multiple champions here in Ontario, and Nina is one of them. And we have many more here ready, willing to put that forward. So again, I would urge, let's take this message today, build in that team of champions in Punjab who are willing to extend that hand, and let's work together and make a sizable difference where we can measure the strength, we can measure the results. So with that, I want to say that, we are excited to hear from Invest Punjab, and we want to tell you that we actually are coming up with another organization at our end also. It's called Invest Ontario. And the job of Invest Ontario is similar to Invest Punjab, is to work together and build those sizable connection and the growth for each other. So again, thank you so much for invitation. I'm looking forward to a future strong relationship where we can deliver results. Thank you, Vipulji. That's it for me.
Thank you, Deepak bhai. That was wonderful and very heartfelt remarks, I would say. So I believe we had some issues with Minister Fedeli's video. I'm not sure if all of you could see it. So I will play it again. Nagasarat Pandurangi, our forum member, who is also assisting us today, will play the video.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks to the excellent team at Impact Media and Events, especially Vipul, for the invitation to attend today's event. My apologies for the last-minute absence. A cabinet meeting was called, and with the ongoing changes in today's world, sudden calls to legislative duty have become more frequent. Believe me, that's the only thing that could have pulled me away from here. Warm greetings to my friend, Consul General Apoorva Srivastava, and the Honorable Preneet Kaur, as well as those who have joined to make today's event a success. We will come together again soon to celebrate the strong relationship between Ontario and Punjab. Today, our global community and the global economy face many challenges from the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, more than ever, It is important to work together for our citizens and economies to explore new partnerships and opportunities to increase trade and investment that leverage strengths. Events like today's conference play an important role in continuing to reinforce connections that can help our economies recover. We have a long history of working together, and this relationship is expanding, generating trade, jobs, and economic growth for both regions. By continuing to work together, Ontario and Punjab, as well as the rest of India, can continue to create an environment where business and people can thrive. Now, colleagues, Parliamentary Assistant Nina Tangri and MPP Deepak Anand, our government's special advisor on India, will join you momentarily to share an in-depth look at the relationship between Ontario and Punjab, the importance of this relationship to Ontario, and the investment opportunities our province has to offer. Many thanks once again to everyone who have organized this incredibly important event. And to all the companies in Punjab province, look no further than Ontario as your ideal destination for investment. And I'll pass it off to my colleagues. Thank you.
Okay, so I believe it played well this time. Okay, so Preneet ji, are you there? I believe she had to go to another meeting, but I hope she is still with us. Preneet ji? Okay, I will give her a minute to log back in.
It is wonderful to see this silence.
Well, actually, we were just getting into a Q&A with her, and I am told that she had to go somewhere and she just left. I'm trying my best to bring her back if I can. Okay, yes. So just give me one more minute. Feel free to come in. Guys, anyone want to make another quick remark?
I would like to say silence is a very powerful language also.
Absolutely. Surjit ji, I totally agree with you. Many things can be done with this. So.
Yeah.
But Vipul ji, do we have Rajiv from Invest Punjab here?
No, not Rajiv. Actually, we have Avneet Kaur, who is the joint CEO for Invest Punjab.
Okay.
So she'll be making the presentation shortly, and that will be followed by presentation from Ministry of Economic Development, and that will be followed by a Q&A and then close. So,
so for those of you in India, like I travel to India like 2 to 3 times every year, and I was there this time last year, and of course COVID hit. So how is the atmosphere there right now on the ground as far as COVID goes? Because it seems that very few people are wearing masks. It seems it's a very normal, from what we see on TV here, it seems very normal now. So can you give us some feedback there and what it's like? No?
Question is for Apoorva ji.
No, this question is for somebody who's in India.
Who's in India, yeah.
So Nina is just trying to see if she has to fly tomorrow to India. Should it be okay or not? That's all.
What was the question, Nina ji? Sorry, I couldn't hear.
On the lines of now with COVID, what we see on television, and it seems that it's very normal in India as far as I don't see too many people wearing masks, physically distancing, staying home. That certainly doesn't seem to be happening. So somebody who's actually on the ground there, living there, how do they feel? How do they feel about, is COVID now something that's in the past? People will get vaccinated. They are being produced and vaccinated right now. But just to see how people on the ground, what their opinion, how they feel about it.
Most of the things have been opened, the cinema theaters, the schools, the dates for the school opening has also come in many states. So things are getting normalized, and it's one of the lowest, rates of COVID is in India, and fatality rate is extremely low. Recovery rate is more than 98%. So things are normalizing, and given the size of the country, I mean, many things have normalized. That's what I've heard and I've seen in televisions. But I'm sure somebody on ground will be able to give you a better picture.
Yeah. So see that's happening.
Surjit, we can have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can.
Nina ji, the street food in India makes our immune system very strong.
Yeah.
Okay, so Avneet ji, if you are available, we are ready for your presentation.
Yeah.
And before that, so Avneet ji is here with us. I would like to invite Surjit ji, our beloved mentor, guide, guru, friend, to introduce her before she can do the presentation for Invest Punjab.
Yeah. Hey, it's my pleasure to introduce Avneet Kaur. Namaste to all the people from India, and good evening. Thank you to participating from India at this time of the day. Avneet is the Joint Chief Officer, Investment Promotion, Land Acquisition Collector. She has been in Industry and Commerce, Invest Punjab, and Director NIFT, as well as Additional Managing Director of Punjab Small Industries and Export Corporation. She holds a master's degree in zoology. Whoa, nice subject. From Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. Avneet has been an assistant commissioner from Rupnagar and Mohali, SDM. Chamkaur Sahab, Joint Commissioner, MC Mohali, and Joint Director, Department of Mining. Avneet ji, we welcome you to this web seminar, and we are looking forward for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Vipulji,
I hope I'm audible.
Getting ready.
Yeah.
Avneet ji, I am from Mohali. So from my grade 1 to grade 12, I was in Mohali. Then I did my chemical engineering from Mohali. So if next time I need to find the address, can I call you?
Sure. Nice to know that you belong to Mohali.
Over to you. Sorry to bother you in between.
Not at all. So a very good morning to all the participants from Canada, and a very good evening to all the participants from India. It's a matter of great delight for us to participate in this Punjab, Ontario virtual conference. As we all know that there is a strong connection between Punjab and Canada. So I feel this is a great way, this forum is a great way of connecting and taking this relationship forward. So today through this forum, I would like to make a pitch for investment promotion in the state. And through my presentation, I would like to brief about what we stand for, what we are as a state, and what are the opportunities available in the state of Punjab. So can I request Team Invest Punjab to start the presentation? Thank you. So can we move to the next slide? Yes. To begin with, we always start from the strategic location of Punjab. So Punjab is a very strategically located state, very close to the national capital, just 4 hours drive by road and 55 minutes by air. Punjab is a very small state with only 1.5% of India's land area, but still it contributes 3% to India's GDP. Punjab has contributed a lot to the food security of the nation. It is called Food Bowl of India. So we contribute 25% of rice and 35% of wheat share in the central grain pool. Punjab is India's largest tractor manufacturing state. We account for 29% of India's total tractor production. We are a leading state in bicycle and bicycle components manufacturing, and also the biggest hosiery manufacturing state. Next slide, please. So we have some focus areas like priority sectors, which we are promoting in our new industrial policy. So one of those areas is agri and food processing. As we know, Punjab is primarily an agrarian state. So there is abundant raw material available in the state. We are first in per capita milk availability in the country. We are second in production of wheat, rice, and quinoa. We are third in country in honey production. And we are also leading in production of peach, pear, muskmelon, peas, guava, and other crops. As far as infrastructure in food processing sector is concerned, there are 3 mega food parks in the state at Ludhiana, Kapurthala, and Fazilka. There are more than 600 cold stores, more than 160 warehouses, and we have India's largest agricultural university, that is Punjab Agricultural University. There are 3 centers of excellence in the state in the field of potato, vegetable, and citrus. We contribute 21% to the manufacturing GDP of the Punjab, this sector. And there are many MNCs in this sector which are there, like HUL, ITC, Nestle, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, to name a few. And more than 200 products are being exported from the state to 140 countries. Now, if we come to the opportunities, there are opportunities available in dairy processing, in fruits and vegetable processing, meat processing, beverages, new packaging technology, cold chain logistics, and there are also opportunities available in technical tie-ups. Next slide, please. So another focus area is mobility. When we talk about the ecosystem in the mobility sector, leading OEMs in commercial vehicles, tractors and farm equipments are present in the state. And we also house suppliers to the major OEMs such as Honda, Maruti, BMW, Audi, Tata Motors, Volvo, Hyundai, Mahindra, and Ashok Leyland. We contribute 29% to India's total tractor production. We are second in tractor exports from India with a share of 22%. We contribute 92% to India's bicycle components and 75% to India's bicycle production. We are first in bicycle exports from India with a share of 80% in export. We are also home to India's leading E2W manufacturing company, and the players in production of this are present in the state in Leon battery, e-rickshaw, e-golf carts, etc. As far as opportunities are concerned, so there are opportunities available in agri and farm equipment, tractor, combine harvester, etc. Technology transfer, and in high-end bicycle and e-bikes, e-buses, and so and so. And when we talk about the potential locations, a high-tech cycle valley is coming up in Ludhiana. That's a major potential location. And there is IMC Patiala. Next slide, please. So, opportunities in petrochemical derivatives. So as you can see, I will not read out this list. So these are the raw materials which are available. And when we talk about the ecosystem in this sector, chemical sector accounts for 4% share of GVA. There is thriving plastic industry in the state. You can read these names which are present in the state. There is a dedicated R&D institute in the state. And there is a plan to set up a plastic park also in the state. So these are the opportunities that you can see at the bottom of the the slide which are available in this sector. Next slide, please. Yes. So next sector is textile. So textile raw material is available in the state. We are second in cotton yarn and blended yarn production in the country. We are third in installed spinning capacity, and we also have a availability of man-made fiber in the state. We are leader in woolen knitwear, hosiery, and sports good. We manufacture 300 plus sports good, which include golf balls, rugby balls, and high quality sports footwear. And the exports are being done to USA, UAE, UK. Can we move back to the previous slide? Yes, thank you. So major textile clusters in the state are in Ludhiana, Amritsar, and Jalandhar. And we are home to major brands such as Vardhman, Nahar, Reliance, Trident, Duke. And major job work for these international companies is being done in the state. Opportunities in the textile sector. So there are opportunities in high value garments, home textiles, footwear, accessories, high value sports equipment, sport gears, fitness machines, technical textiles. And potential location is the Textile Park, Ludhiana. Next slide, please. So then next sector is engineering and manufacturing. Production, 85% of India's sewing machines are being produced in the state, and 400 SMEs are employing 50,000 plus people in manufacturing hand tools. Clusters are there in Ludhiana, Jalandhar, Fagwara, Kapurthala, Moga, and other districts. And in the value chains, we supply to these international brands such as BMW, Audi, amongst others. And there are skilling and R&D at IITs in the state. We account for 26% of India's export in the engineering sector. And major export destinations in the sector are USA, Germany, UK, Brazil, and Russia. And opportunities are available in these sectors: robotic automation, precision instruments, hand and machine tools, boilers, textile industrial machinery, food processing industrial machinery. And the locations are High-Tech Cycle Valley, Light Engineering Cluster Patiala, and IMC Patiala. Next. Pharma and medical devices is another upcoming sector in the state. So you can see there is a strong ecosystem for the pharma sector in the state. There are many API bulk drug manufacturing units already in the state. There are formulation units available in the state. A state-based IOL Chemical is world's largest producer and exporter of ibuprofen. And the direct employment of more than 13,000 people is being generated in the sector. Pharmaceutical goods export from Punjab stood at 165 million Canadian dollar in the financial year 2020. And major export destinations in this sector are US, Canada, Japan, and UK. So you can see in ecosystem, these all companies are there in the industrial landscape of the state. And in opportunities, there are opportunities in bulk drugs, APIs, specialty chemicals, lifestyle formulation, and high-tech medical devices. There is a bulk drug park coming up in Bathinda and another integrated pharma park coming up in Wazirabad in Fatehgarh Sahib. Next, please. Next slide, please. IT. So IT is another upcoming sector. So Mohali is coming up as IT city of the state. There are more than 250 IT units in the state already, and approximately 30,000 IT professionals in the region. IT hub in Mohali offers higher cost savings as compared to other tier 1 cities. There are top IT export destinations from here are Australia, US, Norway, and Canada. So skilled manpower is available in this sector. in the state, because there are many engineering colleges, polytechnics, ITIs, from where we have many graduates in IT and allied fields. And there are opportunities in software development, emerging technologies, animation, 3D, data centers, etc. And the potential locations are IT City Mohali, STPI, Bestech, Quark, to name a few. Next. So education is another sector, with the new education policy opening the gates for foreign universities in the country. So we are projecting education as another priority sector. So we are home to prestigious educational institutes like IIT, IIM, and there are many universities and colleges in the state. When we talk about the strengths, we are first in annual growth rate of number of schools, rapidly increasing foreign collaborations with schools and universities in Punjab. And upcoming, there are many universities coming up in and around Mohali, like MET University, Plaksha University. There is Sports University coming up in Patiala, Skills University. And so we are looking at this sector for investment opportunities from foreign universities, and also at the collaboration with the foreign universities. Next, please. So renewable energy is also another sector, because there is a lot of paddy straw available in the state. So this can be used to produce biofuels. So this is a major sector, a major priority sector. There are already 17 plants which are producing biofuel, biogas, etc. from this paddy straw. And some of the major names are Verbio, Reliance, Tata. And there are opportunities in biofuel, biogas, bioethanol, biocoal. Next, please. So now I would like to talk about the competitive factors of production. As you can see in this slide, so Punjab offers affordable quality power at very low prices. Punjab has one of the lowest tariffs in the country, which is ₹5 per unit. There is peaceful labor in the state, no major strikes, no domicile restriction, 24/7 shifts are allowed. Punjab is ranked second in the ease of logistics, and Punjab is ranked second in the tele-density in the country. Next slide. So Punjab also offers unmatched fiscal incentives. So anchor units can recover up to 200% of FCI. So anchor units are defined on the basis of FCI and employment. And other than this, there is 100% electricity duty exemption for 15 years and 100% exemption from external development charges, and many other incentives are available in the industrial and policy of the state. Next. So now a little bit about Invest Punjab. So Invest Punjab is a one-stop office for all the investors. It acts as investment promotion agency as well as a unified regulator. So all the regulatory clearances required by any investor are provided in Invest Punjab office, because officers from all the departments sit under one roof and provides all the clearances there only. Every investor is provided with a dedicated relationship officer, and all the clearances are given digital approvals. So recently, Invest Punjab has been declared as top performing investment promotion agency by Invest India and Government of India. Next. So these are some of the indicators of the quality of life. I'm sure many of you are already aware about it. We are second in health index in the country. We are second in India Happiness Report, which was launched recently. We are third in governance and political stability, and in top 5 states in density of colleges and universities, third highest in number of foreign students, and amongst the lowest rate of crimes in India. Next. So as you can see, in the past 4 years, Punjab has been able to get more than 71,000 crore investment on ground. And this is a figure which is not an MOU figure. This is the actual investment which has been grounded in the state. Next slide. So these are our partners in growth. These are the companies which are there, present there. So we always say that Punjab is the state that gets better, because the closer you look, the better it gets. And that's all from my side. And we'll be very happy to answer any queries that are there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Avneet ji, for the insightful remarks and a fantastic presentation. So please stay with us for the Q&A session coming up shortly. Before that, we have one more presentation. Let us now welcome Mr. John Thomas from Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade to make a presentation on behalf of Invest Ontario. This will be followed by a joint Q&A with both Invest Punjab and Invest Ontario. So over to you, John.
Hi, everyone. People, should I share my screen for the presentation?
Please.
Okay. Just one
Yes.
sec. Can everyone see my screen?
Not yet.
1 second.
Yes.
Oh, we can.
Yeah. Okay.
You can see it now. Yeah.
1 second.
You can see it now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so my name is John Thomas, part of the Government of Ontario, Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And our area specifically focuses on foreign direct investment. So helping international companies set up and expand their operations in Ontario. And I'm just going to give a quick high-level overview of Ontario and some of its sectors, and you'll see how Ontario is Canada's leader in many sectors. So I'll just begin. So first, we're going to just take a look at Ontario as a strong economy and its location. So Ontario is located for business growth. We're in the heart of North America. We have 14 million people here and over 200 languages spoken. We're connected to at least 175 destinations around the world. We're Canada's economic powerhouse. We're the 7th largest subnational economy in North America. Roughly 40% of the country's population and GDP reside here in Ontario. 46% of Canada's goods are produced here in Ontario. And you'll find that 63% of foreign enterprises in Canada are present here in Ontario. So this is just to give you a snapshot of the size of Ontario in terms of GDP. So you can see that Ontario's GDP stands strong globally compared to countries such as Switzerland, Belgium, Norway, and Finland. And here's another snapshot to just show you in terms of the top destination in North America where Ontario ranks. And so Ontario is ranked first in North America as the top destination region for the number of jobs created in 2018. And then you'll also see that Toronto is ranked first in North America as the top destination for a metropolitan area for the number of jobs created. Here's another snapshot to kind of show you what sectors are setting up here in Ontario. So as you can see that software and IT is the largest sector in terms of greenfield FDI expenditure. And that's for the simple fact that with software and IT, you know, there's less capital and less equipment in terms of setting up and expanding. So there's a little bit more ease there. But you'll find that, you know, in North America, Ontario ranks and competes with the San Franciscos, the Californias, the New Yorks, the Texases. Also, you could see that automotive is a big industry here in Ontario. In fact, manufacturing itself is a big industry here in Ontario, and it's comprised, if you can see on this list here, automotive, transportation, semiconductors, food and beverage, all of that we consider manufacturing, and the processing happens here in Ontario. So just wanted to show you quickly that when you're in Ontario, you have access to 143 million consumers within a day's drive. Not only do you have access to the Canadian market, but you have access to the US market. We have about 14 borders with the US here in Ontario. And on top of that, we also have trade agreements such as the CUSMA. Next, I'm going to be talking about Ontario's skilled workforce. So 68% of Ontario adults have a post-secondary education. We also are home to 5 globally renowned universities in Ontario, which are on the top 300 global university lists. We produce about 42,000 STEM graduates annually. And Toronto is the 3rd top ranked tech talent market in North America, and that's after San Francisco and Seattle. So this snapshot just shows you the diversity that's here in Ontario. When we look at languages, obviously we know that English is the spoken language here in Ontario, but you can see the wide range of languages from abroad that are here in Ontario. And in terms of languages from India, you can see Hindi, Gujarati, Tamil, Urdu. And on top of that, you can see that Punjabi is the highest language out of all the Indian languages. One thing in Canada and in Ontario that we promote is immigration, and in terms of getting access to talent. So in Ontario, I mean, there's numerous pathways in terms of immigration. And one thing that we promote here in Canada is the Global Skills Strategy, which offers a 10 business day work permit processing for highly skilled talent. Next, I'm going to talk about Ontario's competitive business advantage. So Canada is one of the world's second soundest banking systems, and we take pride in that. And on top of that, we're the second most politically stable country in the world after Norway, Finland, and Sweden, which are tied. And on top of that, we have lower business costs here. Our combined federal and provincial manufacturing corporate income tax rate is 25%, and our combined federal and provincial corporate income tax rate is at 26.5%. And we also boast about our research and development tax credits. In Ontario, for every $100 you spend on research and development, your actual after-tax expenditure is anywhere from $47.50 to $60.28. Next, I'm just going to touch on some of Ontario's sectors. So as you can see, Ontario is a leader in Canada in terms of many of the industries that Canada is known for. So whether it's automotive manufacturing, steel, chemicals, life sciences, environmental technologies, which includes clean technology, aerospace and defense, financial services, and lastly, information and communications technology, Ontario is a leader in terms of GDP and in terms of the workforce. And now I'm just going to touch on 2 sectors. Sorry, before I touch on the 2 sectors, I wanted to highlight this snapshot. So this is a map of Ontario, and this gives you an idea of the different regions in Ontario and the top 3 industries in that area based on employment. So if you look at Central Ontario, we'll see that steel manufacturing, auto manufacturing, and agriculture are the main industries. In Southwestern Ontario, It's agriculture, auto manufacturing, and chemicals. In Northern Ontario, we have mining, forestry, and steel manufacturing. And then in Eastern Ontario, we have ICT, forestry, and business services. And lastly, in the Greater Toronto Area, it's finance, aerospace, and ICT. So first, I'm going to touch on advanced manufacturing. So as you can see, the advanced manufacturing industry is large here in Ontario, and it's spread out across Ontario, mainly residing in southwestern Ontario. And the advanced manufacturing industry is made up of aerospace, automotive, chemical, and steel. Here's another snapshot of the top 10 manufacturing sectors here in Ontario. As you can see, transportation and equipment is the largest. We have, in my next slide I'll show you, but we have not only the 5 OEMs of auto manufacturers here producing, but we have a large tier 1, tier 2 suppliers here. On top of that, you'll see food and beverage, as well as some other sectors such as chemicals. So this is just a quick snapshot of our strong auto base here in Ontario. Like I mentioned before, we have the 5 OEMs here producing vehicles in Ontario. So we have GM, Chrysler, Ford, Honda, and Toyota. Not only that, we have 700 plus parts suppliers and 500 plus tool, die, and mold facilities here in Ontario. The next sector I want to touch on was information communications technology. And we have some of the world leaders here in Ontario, from the Amazons and AMDs and Apples to Facebook and Google and Microsoft. They're all here in Ontario doing a number of things in various regions in Ontario. Here's a quick snapshot of Ontario's ICT ecosystem. And what I want to highlight here is that many of you are familiar with Toronto in the Greater Toronto Area. It definitely houses a lot of the major tech companies. I wanted to highlight as well the Kitchener-Waterloo region in the south, as well as Ottawa in the east. And this region here, we call the tech corridor. And we have the major tech companies producing here with multiple locations. Some with research and development locations such as BlackBerry, Google, and Microsoft. And they'll have research and development in Ottawa or Kitchener-Waterloo. And then they'll have their sales operations and research and development here in the GTA, in the Greater Toronto Area. So it's a mix of things. But as you can see, one of the reasons for the top tech talent is that our universities produce some of the great top tech talent, namely University of Waterloo and University of Toronto. And in the past, Silicon Valley would come here to recruit our top tech talent. And over the last 7 to 10 years, we've seen that the tech talent doesn't go to Silicon Valley anymore because the opportunities reside here in Ontario. And so it helps build our ecosystem. And the next slide I just want to talk about was artificial intelligence. As we all are aware, artificial intelligence is a hot topic all over the world. And in Ontario, we have 300 plus AI startups. And that's namely because of the tech talent that we have here produced by some of our colleges and universities, but also that we have some great research institutions here that are doing great research in artificial intelligence, from the Vector Institute to the Creative Destruction Lab and to Waterloo AI. And lastly, I just wanted to touch on how we can help. Our office here is designed to help international companies set up and expand their operations here in Ontario, to be a part of the ecosystem, to employ some of the top talent that's here in Ontario. And some of the ways that we can help is that we provide timely, customized business intelligence. This can be market research, understanding of regulations and tariffs, cost comparisons. Also, we can provide introductions into the federal and municipal governments. We can help with site selection, introductions to service providers, whether that's accountants, lawyers, recruiters. Also, we can help with understanding business immigration pathways. And lastly, how we can help is doing customized Ontario tours. So when the borders do open up and you do want to visit Ontario, to understand what region is right for you and to understand the ecosystems better, our team can help facilitate those tours to help you make a better business decision. And lastly, that concludes my presentation. I've added my contact information, as well as we have a trade and investment office in India. And so I've attached the representative information there as well. Thank you.
So thank you for a wonderful presentation, John. So that now brings us to a joint Q&A with both the investment agencies. And let me start with Prashant. I believe you had a question.
Yeah.
So you are next to ask any questions.
Thank you, Vipul Bhai, and excellent presentation from both the groups, Invest Punjab and Invest Ontario. A lot of opportunities and synergies we can see in so many different sectors. And I'm sure, conference like this will open more doors for collaboration. I have a couple of questions for Invest Punjab. I would like to know some of the focus areas for Punjab, like what will be the focus areas. And also the second question is about getting ready for the jobs of tomorrow. So what initiatives the government is taking for these two things? Thank you.
Avneet ji?
Yeah, so when we talk about the focus area, like I already mentioned in my presentation, so according to industrial and business development policy of the government of Punjab, so we have some of the thrust areas in our policy. So there are some thrust areas in manufacturing, and there are some thrust areas in service sectors. So we say e-vehicles, medical equipments, textile, agri and food processing. These are some of the thrust sectors in manufacturing sector. And in service sector, we have IT, life sciences, incubation centers, healthcare, tourism, media and entertainment. These are some of the thrust sectors in the service sector. So can you repeat your second question, please?
Sure, thank you. Second question was about getting ready for the jobs of tomorrow. So for like new technologies are coming and how skill development and other initiatives are happening in Punjab.
So anybody from Invest Punjab team would like to take that question? Gaurav?
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. This is Gaurav Khanna. Well, regarding the creation of job in the state, we have seen that in the recent past, many universities have tied up with the international universities from different countries. The idea is to bring the new courses and technology in the state of Punjab. The very recent example is a tie-up between an IIT and NTTU University from the Taiwan. They have established a center of excellence for developing an artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning in this region. Because in the COVID times, we have seen that industry have especially emphasized on using these new technologies in order to not only increasing the efficiency on their production line, but also to maintain the safety and other standards. Apart from that, we also have industrial policy under which we have certain incentives which are framed in such a manner that it will create new job opportunities in the state. So, for example, any industry who is coming up in the state of Punjab, we are giving them an employment subsidy, and that employment subsidy is a very attractive incentive for the 5 years. So these kind of holistic initiatives by the government of Punjab are actually boosting new employment opportunities, and they are creating jobs for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Surjit ji, and then I believe Peter also has a question for Invest Punjab. So Surjit bhai, you're next.
Yeah, I would like to know, there are a lot of opportunities for large corporations and large investments. What are the opportunities for smaller investors? I understand mid-size is common, but is there investment opportunities for investments that are in the region of $10 to $50 million, which is deemed to be small comparatively?
Sir, you... Give me 1 minute. Yes, I did.
Who is answering on Invest Punjab?
Yeah. Thank you so much for this question. I think the size of investment that you are showing, telling there are a lot of opportunities, especially if we will see the agri and food processing sector. Many small units are coming in the state of Punjab for 2 reasons. Number one, after the GST introduction, the companies are now setting up their plants very close to the market. Seeing the consumption pattern in the North India, if we will see the unit in Punjab is actually, can target to the 28 or 30% of India's total population. So the proximity to the, my market actually gives me more access. And at the same time, it will also save my cost of logistics. These 2 big factors are, compelling all big companies also, as well as at the same time, medium-sized companies also, for making their investments in the state of Punjab. And especially the kind of an infrastructure we have in the road network, in the train network, and especially when we are on the connected with the dedicated freight corridors. So we are directly connected with the Eastern dedicated freight corridor, and we are indirectly connected with the Western freight corridor through the Delhi connectivity. So these are the elements which are actually very attractive for investments in the state of Punjab.
Thank you.
I would also like to add one thing, that for the smaller businesses, the state has come up with a Right to Business Act. So under this act, all the micro, small and medium enterprises, they can start their businesses and without obtaining any of the regulatory clearances. So they are given in principle certificate within the 3 working days in approved industrial parks, and they can start their business from the first day. And later on, this is valid for 3 years, and later on they can get all the required approvals from the departments concerned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jatendra-ji?
Yeah, I'll take this question. Thanks, Vipulji. So this question is for Invest Punjab. You guys mentioned, it's related with the IT. You guys mentioned about the new IT sectors are coming in Mohali and other places within Punjab side. What I have noticed is that in Punjab or in other regions also in India, the infrastructure for IT itself, whether it's going to be internet, whether it's going to be electricity, is not available up, the way companies are working in North America. It's 24/7, whether you need in nighttime or in daytime. So what are, the possibility on that scenario? Is there any specific sector and IT park you guys have in India, and specific Punjab side, where you have all the infrastructure available for any companies coming from Canada to India?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I think I'll start with the IT thing, and I would say that Mohali region has been seen a very good growth in the recent time. Of course, the obvious reason are like the continuous power supply. I would like to mention few things here, that Punjab is the one of the state which is having a 400 kV ring main system. And now, when I'm saying a 400 kV ring main system, it means it not only provides the quality power, it enables the state to provide power to the last mile. Number 2, in terms of a transmission and distribution losses, if we compare with the other states, we are having this transmission and distribution losses close to the 12% to 13%, as compared to the national average, which is close to 24%. So these are the few quick things I thought I'll share with you. Otherwise, since Punjab is being the power surplus state, now in the state, there is no such problem of power cuts. There is a continuous power supply that state is providing. In terms of the Mohali, I would say specifically for the IT companies, it has seen a lot of growth in the coming time. The obvious reason is that now the cost of operations and cost of, so CapEx and OpEx both, I would say capital expenditure and my operational expenditure is being actually increasing in the metros. So these companies are looking for the alternative options where the, these CapEx and OpEx are competitive. So I would say that if we compare our, these estimates with the Bangalore, like, cities or Delhi, we are at least 35% more competitive in terms of operational cost and capital expenditure also. So these are the things which are actually, these companies, IT companies, especially in the, I would say, so yeah, these are the, these are the things which these IT companies are liking, especially in the BPOs, KPOs, in software solutions, giving firewall solution, giving security solutions to the international clients. And we have seen that in Mohali, recently the government has developed an IT park also, where the Infosys has made an investment in a very larger way. They are in the process of setting up their campus there. Although we have many other, private places where these companies are flourishing, like we have a Quark City, which is again, it is an SEZ, Special Economic Zone, where many IT companies are operating. And of course, the quality of the lifestyle and the quality of this area is something which is complementing the IT companies and their executives. And of course, one more thing I would like to mention here, that now since the Mohali airport is an international airport, so that connectivity plays a very important role for IT companies. And with the increase in number of flights with different regions, we are very hopeful that in the coming times we will get more enthusiastic response from the IT sector as well. In fact, Punjab is first in all states in terms of number of internet subscribers also. So this is again very important, that we have 100% optical cable networking across the state. So these things are something very important for any IT company or technology-based company, because these days the dependency on the IoT things are very critical and important. So of course, we are power surplus, and the kind of an infrastructure laid down by the government with a lot of investment actually ensures the quality of delivery of power to the last mile. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, people, I have one follow-up question on this. What I got the information from Invest Punjab. So let's say if we need to open the service center or businesses in Mohali, so will it be possible that Invest Punjab will direct everything or will oversee all the steps for that one, or you guys will just be a kind of messenger, pass the information to a specific as you mentioned, a lot of private places over there for the offices, and if you guys need to open it, will it be Invest Punjab will be a part of that, the whole deal, or they will be just pass the information to a specific provider and then you will work with them?
Thank you for this question. I think it's a very important question for all the audiences, and I would like to answer in a way that see, we are an investment promotion agency as Invest Ontario also. But at the same time, we are a unified regulator. Now, this unified regulator makes us unique in the country, and we are one of its kind in the country. It means that, while setting up of your, operations in the state of Punjab or your manufacturing facility in the state of Punjab, the kind of government approvals or clearances required, this office actually acts like a one-stop office, meaning thereby, after contacting this office, all kind of approvals which are required from the government of Punjab will be processed and granted from this office itself. So that's something this office, plays an important role during the, initial conceptualization stage or even during your operations. So the handholding will continue. So I think my only request is that, if anyone has any plans in the state of Punjab, we are sharing our, email ID and phone number in the chat. And we would request you to please connect with us, share your plans with us, and you can test us. We'll give you the complete facilitation, not only in your initial planning stage, but during your setting up, process also, and thereafter post your operations also will continue the aftercare and hand holding. So it's like total end-to-end solution we provide to the investor.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. I will ask one question as well to John. John, Ontario, as we all know, was becoming a tech hub, actually, catching up fast with the Silicon Valley, especially in the last 3 years. But with Trump now gone, he was like, de facto brand ambassador for Ontario, sending everybody here. So now with Trump gone and Biden again relaxing rules for spouses of H-1B visa holders and many other things, do you see the trend continuing towards Ontario or slowing down a little bit now?
Thanks for that question. So just to backtrack a bit, definitely we saw an increase in companies wanting to set up here in Ontario, specifically in regions like India, and mainly due to that immigration component. And one of the things, so actually an example is Cognizant, which is an Indian company. And I think it was back in 2017, 2018, Cognizant, the motivation for Cognizant was to set up or expand their operations here in Ontario for their office because of the fear of immigration. And on top of that, Ontario's tech talent. I would say that we're still seeing the benefits of, Trump that when he was in office, because as we all know that with foreign direct investment, it takes time to occur and actually land an investment. And we have a few Indian companies who are about to make some announcements in February, March of opening operations, ICT companies. Unfortunately, I can't name them because it's still confidential. But so I would say, with Trump, we're still seeing the benefits, but we're not too concerned, to be honest, with Biden, coming in office. The benefit is not necessarily, Ontario or Canada was, the crutch for, American companies or international companies that want to get access to the US market, and they're setting up here in Ontario or Canada in fear of the US market. But the main driver of ICT companies, especially setting up here in Ontario, is one, the access to that tech talent. As you saw in one of my slides, we have about over 42,000 STEM graduates produced here annually. So that's science, technology, engineering, mathematics graduates. And on top of that, the cost of setting up here in Ontario is quite lower than in the US. And when you're looking at salaries, standard of living for employees, Ontario, and like if we were going to pick a city, let's pick Toronto, is in direct competition with the New Yorks and the San Franciscos, and the price that you would pay for salary in San Francisco, is much higher than it is here in Ontario. But on top of that, the salary in somewhere like San Francisco, the standard of living is so high in a region like that, even though an employee is getting a high salary, it's very hard to maintain a particular standard of living. Whereas here in Ontario, not only can employers pay cheaper than the competition, but their employees will enjoy a better standard of living. Our universities and colleges are some of the best, producing some of the best talent, and specifically with tech talent. And in terms of ICT, and that's a broad spectrum, in Ontario, we've launched 5G. We have some of the major telecoms players here. We have research centers that are focusing on artificial intelligence and autonomous vehicles. And, there's so many more subsectors and categories, but Ontario is making sure it's a leader in the world and definitely a leader in North America.
Sure. Thank you for that. Actually, just a few weeks back, we had a special webinar with Canada's Consul General in San Francisco, Rana Sarkar, and IT was one of the things that we discussed. So I'm sure he'll be happy to to know what you just said. So now I believe Viresh Mathur, a member of the forum, he has a question for both Invest Ontario and Invest Punjab. So maybe you can start with Invest Ontario first, and then Invest Punjab.
Okay, thank you, Vipul. John, a couple of questions for you. One is, I'm also a member of the another business organization called the Scarpa Business Association, and one of the things business people in at least in the GT area, they're concerned about access to high-speed internet and broadband. In today's climate of COVID, where we're doing a lot of Zoom and online meetings, access to broadband is very important. I know that the Ontario government has some priorities in providing it to areas. There are dead spots in some parts of Toronto where these communications companies have divvied up the country. TELUS is one area, Bell is in another area. Although there's not encouraging competition, there is a lack of services in some areas. I'm glad to see that everybody here is not having too much difficulty staying online. With other meetings I've been in, there has been the technology has been very poor. So what is the priority, and how high is our priority for the Ontario government to provide high-speed access to all areas, including rural areas of Ontario? And the same question to Invest Punjab and Punjab government. What other best practice you can share both ways to provide this type of technology where businesses can communicate efficiently?
That's a great question. I'll start off. So one thing I would mention is I know there is a statistic out there, but in terms of connectivity, surprisingly, Ontario does rank high compared to other jurisdictions across the world. But you're right. Like with any, with anything, there is definitely dead spots. I know that with the Greater Toronto area, there's definitely great connectivity, but there are some dead spots if we're looking at, certain regions like, possibly in Mississauga or Brampton or Durham. There definitely is. I could say that, I know the Ontario government is committed to developing and improving broadband, especially with the introduction of 5G. You did reference that there was an announcement by the government of Ontario to improve broadband in rural regions in Ontario, and that was prior to COVID. Now with COVID, we are in this online world, And so I know that with the Ontario government, there is a priority to develop this, not just in rural regions, but also in within the GTA. I know that telecoms providers like Bell and Rogers and Telus, who own the infrastructure, are continually working to develop and better improve the access to broadband. And, we are one of the first regions that have deployed 5G and continuing to improve it. And that alone, shows the commitment to improving this. But obviously with the pandemic, everyone is online now. I think for everywhere in the world, it was a little bit of an expectancy of how many people would need to be online and go virtual and go digital. But that definitely is something that Ontario is working on.
Yeah, so Invest Punjab team.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the very good evidence is during the COVID time, we have seen that, most of the office work and even the school work also have been, managed through the internet connectivity only. Well, in the state of Punjab, the broadband is the connectivity which is available for every citizen. The kind of, the smartphones and the computer connectivity they have at all the locations that enables the citizens to actually connect with the world, whether through Google, YouTube, or different kind of, these VC, applications. And we have seen that, are all government schools as well as the private schools, including the universities. They have actually, run their classes throughout these, more than 7-8 months through the internet connectivity. Well, that is something what we have seen. But yes, I would like to again, remind here that we are having the, the highest internet subscriber per 100 population, which means that 70% of population is using the internet on phone. And in terms of the average internet download speed, so we have a 4G connectivity so far across the state, even the country. And the Punjab average download speed is 12 Mbps. And in terms of the, the optical fiber connectivity, as I was mentioning in my previous answer also, we have 100% carpeting of optical fiber across the state, meaning thereby that enables the kind of a downloading speed to the, end users, not only to the citizens, but to the industry also in a very larger way. Beyond that, we have 50% of population in the state which are using the smartphones. It means that the penetration of smartphones across the state is more than 50%. And in terms of, other services like 27% share of, if we see the kind of a distribution amongst the rural area and the urban areas, it is almost like 50% in terms of the penetration of these internet technologies and the usage of smartphones. And at the same time, as I was mentioning in my previous reply also, that now companies are moving towards these artificial intelligence and IoT and even the robotic technologies also. And they are also monitoring their operations from remote locations without keeping much of manpower on work flow. So these things are only possible because of the kind of an internet connectivity we have. But yes, we do understand once the 5G will come, it will definitely enhance the the bandwidth of connectivity further. But so far, the technology is very well available, and industry is increasing their dependability. At the same time, they are using more and more new IoT-enabled services in their operations. Thank you.
Okay. I just have another follow-up question for John, actually.
Okay.
John, change the topic.
So
when it comes to
after you.
Yeah. Okay. When it comes
to ask the question, he will ask it after you.
Okay. So when it comes to investments in Ontario, how aggressively are you promoting the provincial nominee program, where you have immigration based on investments in Ontario? The federal government is not promoting their business in immigration. How aggressively, and what is the priority of the Ontario's business community to bring in investments through the nominee program?
Thanks for that. That's a good question. I would say Ontario is aggressively promoting that. When I say aggressively, one of the things is, you might not see commercials or it advertised, but when we deal with companies, that is a strong selling point. And especially within the last 4 years, when we were talking about the US, when we're dealing with, Asian or European companies, and even some US companies, we were promoting the different pathways to immigration. One of the things to consider, during the last 4 years, the federal government created the Global Skills Strategy, which the ministry is a referral partner for that. And so what that means is that there's a program that will partner companies with a dedicated service channel rep in the federal government who could handle their case and help expedite their work permits for their companies as fast as 10 business days. And with that, we've pushed that a lot using the global skills strategy for some of our companies that we've been dealing with, and kind of doing a matrix approach where we're looping in our federal counterparts. We're looping in our immigration specialists over here to kind of figure out, what's the best way to help a company bring their talent here. And on top of that, with the global skills strategy and various immigration pathways, there is some priority with top talent. And, when we're looking at some engineering roles, for example, Ontario places a priority on those roles, and we can help expedite that type of talent to come into Ontario.
Sure. Deepak bhai, you wanted to ask a question?
Vipul thank you for that. I just want to ask a few things from Invest Punjab, because a lot of people from Punjab here in Canada, they want to go and invest, but they always skeptical. They always have worries in them. Are there any success stories that you can share with them, and so that they feel comfortable? I think the biggest challenge I found is, we all here know about Punjab. We all know about India. And sometimes we feel that we know a little bit too much to take that risk also. How do we mitigate that risk? How do we mitigate that perception that when they go there, they'll get the service they need, and they will not be any trouble? I don't want to use the loose words, but in other words, they are always worried about what if they'll be wrong. So how do we get that confidence to them, number one? And number two, as I said earlier, saying is something, doing is something different. So we want to know, Nina and I and Amarjot, we are all willing to work with Punjab to have investment from Punjab to Ontario, and we want to have investment from Ontario to Punjab as well. Who would be that champion if Invest Punjab can take that to the Legislative Assembly and talk about and create few champions? We would love to work with those champions through Vipulji. Thank you so much, Vipulji.
Sure. आपने पूरा क्वेश्चन मिस्टर इंडिया मोड पे पूछ लिया. I could not see you at all.
Thank you, Deepak ji, for your question. I think I can take this first. So you are rightly mentioned that, these success stories are very important to believe in the facts and the claims. We do have number of success stories here. And I would suggest that, we have a website called investpunjab.gov.in. At the same time, I would also request that, if you can connect with us, we can share more insights in the particular sector where you have an interest, or the people who are showing interest in the state of Punjab, so that we can share those success stories with you. And these are very recent success stories, which we have seen during our journey. So, this office was established, a few years back, only 7 years back. And till that time, in the current government time, as you know, in the presentation of our Invest Punjab, you must have seen the kind of an investment we have received to the tune of 71,000 crore rupees in last 4 years. Well, these are not the MOUs that we have signed like in many other regions. These are actual investment proposals that we have received on ground, and these people are have actually invested at different stages of their operations. So, of course, for any kind of mitigation in terms of getting information in terms of different authorities, or any information related to the market and the industry which is operating in this region, trust me, this office, Invest Punjab, would be a one-stop office for you. I would not use the word single window, but I would use the word one-stop office, because the story ends here. Because when the moment you connect with this office, we will appoint a dedicated relationship officer with the investor, and the objective and the purpose of that relationship officer is to actually provide you a one-stop point, contact point, so that for any of your query, any of your data requirement, this office will help you. Even we work with the investors in making their business cases also. So that will give them a lot of confidence in the beginning in taking approvals from their management. Because while coming to India, you have lot many I would say options available. In that particular stage, we handhold the investor, and we provide all these information that helps them in making a right business case, competitive business case for their management. And once they select the state of Punjab for their next investment destination, we totally handhold them in identifying the right piece of land, in getting all the approvals for setting up of their offices, businesses, and their manufacturing plant. So I would again request you, our contact details are there in the chat section. We have also shared the detail of our website. Please do share the interest with us, so that we'll get a chance to respond to you, provide all the support which is required for any investor for making early decision, right decision, with total support and handholding. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are approaching just about.
Vipulji, that was the first half of the question. The second half of the question was that we need somebody from the Legislative Assembly of Punjab also to be a champion. And I'm not going to ask you to who could that be, and we don't have an interest in one person or the other. But I would suggest go to the commissioner, to the minister, whether it is Shyam Sundar Arora ji or somebody else. Why don't you advocate for a team of champion, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 MLAs, and so that we can have a meaningful conversation through a legislator to a legislator. And we build this as not a one-time stop with Vipulji's show, but more than a process going forward.
Sure, agree. We'll continue to do that, to reach out to MLAs. So as I was saying, we are approaching the 12 o'clock mark here, and looking at the interest, maybe we'll extend it by a few more minutes. So my next question is for both Invest Ontario and Invest Punjab teams. These days, we see a lot of cooperation, not just between countries, but also between provinces. One country's one state is now trying to work with a state in a different country, trying to work, for bilateral trade and investment and whatnot. So where do you see Punjab and Ontario supporting each other and working together for mutual benefit? I mean, not just on a hypothetical larger, scheme of things, but more precisely, where do you see opportunities where you can work together for a mutual benefit for both Punjab and Ontario? I'll start with John and then Invest Punjab.
Sure. I mean, I can only speak on the foreign direct investment side. And so if there are companies that are interested in setting up and expanding operations into Canada, we can definitely work with Invest Punjab and our counterparts there to work hand in hand to find out what's the best course of action in terms of helping companies set up here. Whether it's information gathering, understanding the ecosystem, connecting them to players in the market here, whatever the case may be. When borders do open up, we're more than happy to help with any type of Ontario tour to help companies understand. And I'm speaking on the investment side of things. Now, in terms of a trade, that would be some of my counterparts that are not here on the call. But I can confidently say that for any missions that are upcoming, we have teams in place and units in place to work with their counterparts in Punjab to set up delegations, whether it's bringing companies and government folks here into Ontario to understand the landscape and the ecosystem, or vice versa. And we're happy to help in any way we can.
Okay. Team Punjab.
Yeah. So Vipulji, I think from my presentation, again, I would like to say that we have a very clear focus on certain sectors like agri and food processing, pharmaceuticals, auto components, and then textiles. So these are the sectors where we are very, a strong ecosystem availability in the state of Punjab. At the same time, thanks to John for showing the collaboration interest, and we are also more than interested in collaborating with Mr. John and Ontario Invest, and so that the kind of a facilitation both can provide to the investors on both the side. So this will again help us in not only attracting the investment but also to facilitating the investors for the smooth landing in both the regions. At the same time, yes, for the trade and other things, we are also, as an investment promotion agency of the state of Punjab, we are constantly, connecting the local, industry with the international, opportunities with different countries and different regions. In that also, I'm sure with the support of Invest Ontario, we would like to connect our industrialists based on the kind of a demand in the Ontario or even the entire Canada, so that they can actually explore the new avenues and new product lines, and they can start exporting from the state of Punjab. So we are very hopeful, and in this, Vipulji, I would request you to please connect us, with the Invest Ontario, so that this collaboration can go forward and more good results can be achieved in near time. Thank you.
Sure. So any final quick questions, Prashantji, Surjit bhai?
No, I'm fine, and I think it was a great presentation from both sides. And the last thing I request is everybody let's not leave it to words and presentations. Let's see if we can carry it forward and invest in both sides.
I completely agree, Vipul bhai, and this was a fabulous way of connecting, and means in such a less time, we use technology to connect with both the parties, and a very good presentation by Invest Punjab and Invest Ontario. This opens a lot of doors for our companies and opportunities in both the provinces to explore. Thank you.
Sure. So thank you once again to all the speakers today, all the members of the Canada-India-USA Development Forum, and all the IMEC sponsors, including Seneca College, Tangentia, Pavi Binning, One Place, and Skylink Capital for your continued support. So with that, the conference is now closed. Thank you.